I've worked in the sustainability field for nearly 15 years. I started at university, where I did a degree in geography and extreme sports. My wife spent many hours in the library studying real things, and I spent many hours on the mountains skiing and climbing. And I knew I was going to be an outdoor pursuits instructor. The best thing to ruin your hobby is to take 30 children out in the rain. So I fell into the sustainability field, and I've really enjoyed my journey so far. And what is sustainability? 15 years on, I'm still not that sure. Because it means different things to different people. And some people will focus on climate change or renewable energy. Some people will focus on technology, maybe ecology. Some people will be focused on water or waste. Some people are focused on social justice, discrimination, inclusivity. And all of these fall under the sustainability umbrella. And that's one of the things I like about it, and I think it's one of the things organizations and businesses like, because they can select what speaks to them, what's high on their values, and they can then use them to define their approach to sustainability. This is my future, and sustainability is about the future and about what future we leave for them. So these are my children, range from 2 to 14. 2-year-old didn't have much of an opinion when I asked him about the future. The others, I caveat this with teenageness, but the others weren't that enthusiastic about it. They're worried about what the world will be like when they're older. As has been said, there's a 90% chance that all 4 of them will live to over 100 years old. Our climate modeling goes to 2100, and these will all be alive when we reach the end of our climate modeling. And so sustainability is that legacy we leave them. And what is that legacy? Currently, it's a world that's warming. In England alone, since 2018, we've had 4,000 heat-related deaths. Our summers are going to get hotter and drier, which will lead to water scarcity and droughts. It will lead to crop failures. Our winters will also get warmer, which will be nice. They're also going to get a lot wetter, which is going to lead to more flooding. The sea level is rising. What we've measured over the past 100 years will happen again in the next 30. This is going to lead to coastal flooding and storm surges. Bangladesh, by 2050, will have lost 17% of its land to the sea, which will displace around 20 million people. In June last year, 2021, there was estimated to be about 84 million displaced people in the world. Because of climate change, this is going to increase. In the 1800s, at the height of the slave trade, there was roughly 12 million slaves. Now, there's over 40 million. 75% of those people living in slavery are female. 25% are children. We look at the world, there's more social injustice. There are people who are discriminated against every day. There are people living in slavery. Climate change is happening, we can measure it, and it's going to get worse. Now, that is the future my children and your children are facing. nearly 50% of human-related carbon emissions come from the 10% richest people in the world. So why aren't they solving it? If you have assets of over $93,000, you're in the 10% richest people in the world. We have caused it, and we are the problem, and this is what we're leaving our future. So how do you balance the needs of now, of what we need for our lives, and the needs of the future generations? How do you balance the need to solve the problems of climate change and solve the problems of social injustice and human rights abuses? At this point, I should give you the answer, but there isn't one. But what there is here's an example. I can't really see you, but put your hands up if you've got a smartphone. A smartphone takes around 67,000 litres of water to make. That's enough water for somebody's drinking needs for 91 years. On average, a smartphone, somewhere in its supply chain, will have 3.2 slaves working to make that phone that we've all got in our pockets. How do you balance that? Do you select your next one from a company that's doing everything about water, or do you select a company who's trying to solve the problems of slavery? How do you get through that tangled mess of all these problems we're facing? And the answer is just do something. Do something positive that will make a difference. And whether that's you go home and you change your light bulbs to low-energy light bulbs, it's going to make a difference. Whether you go the whole hog and make your house an entirely energy-efficient building, or you do it at work, whether you have the opportunity to grow your own food, or you could advocate for marginalized groups, whether that's through supporting NGOs with your time or with your money, or whether it's lobbying politicians around the world to ensure that these marginalized groups are engaged with the future. You could stop driving. You could stop flying. You could reduce the amount of time you spend on the internet, because that too has a carbon footprint. If you take 5,000 people who stream an average amount of information onto their phones or their tablets, that emits as much carbon as the Congo. We could do all these things. One of the most impactful things we can do is change where we invest our money. So it's been calculated that if you move your pension to a sustainable or ethical pension fund, that's 27 times more impactful than never flying again and going vegan combined. That is not an excuse to carry on flying. But as we start that journey and pick something that means something to you, you'll move from that confusing, I don't know what to do, it's all too big, I don't know where to go from here, through a journey that gets simpler and clearer for you. And as you do that, and as we all do that collectively, we can solve these problems. We will all have different problems we want to solve or we are able to help solve. So solve them. And I think, yes, I'll leave you with this, and I love this quote. It says, you can't go back and change the beginning. The past has happened, we are where we are. We can't change it. But you can start from now and change the end. That future, that legacy we leave for our children and our grandchildren can be what we make it. Thank you.